Welcome to Breaking the Chains. I'm your host, Vakita, and I'm in Ghana. So, today I wanted to talk to you all about building and building materials. So, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say, you can build a house in Ghana for $10,000 or $20,000 and give such a flat rate, when in all actuality it's true, but it's not true. So I want to give you an idea of how much certain building materials actually cost. So here they use concrete and iron rods and blocks and those kinds of building materials. So I'm going to give you an idea of what those costs look like. So I took some notes so that I won't forget anything. So if you see me looking down, it's because I have it all written down. Okay, so one trip of sand. A trip of sand is like one of them big dump trucks. So one trip of sand, and when I say a trip of anything, I'm talking about those big trucks that carry a whole lot of stuff. I guess in America, I think we would call it a dump truck. So one trip of sand will cost you, right now, today, will cost you 800 CDs. That's if they don't have to go too far. Now, if there's a distance for it, it's gonna cost you 1,000 CDs. So it can cost between 800 and 1,000 CDs. A trip of stones, and stones are these things, these granite stones. A trip of stones would cost you between 1,800 and 2,000 CDs. Iron rods, we also, in America, I think we call them rebar. Iron rods will cost you between 5,500 to 5,700 CDs per ton. So they've gone up extremely, which they used to be 3,000 CDs a ton. A bag of cement right now costs 50 CDs. Apparently, the former president Muhammad's brother has started a cement company, and his cement bags are 30 CDs. So I don't know anyone who's used them to be able to say what the quality of the cement is, but if you're going to go with a really good cement like Dangote, which is the Nigerian businessman, everybody, like, right now you can barely even find it because there are so many people building, and that's like the best cement that you can get, Dangote. But there are other companies with cement or whatever, and the average cost right now is 50 CDs a bag. So those are just like the big things that you have to buy. Now you have to, well, not the only big things you have to buy, because your cement blocks, we have ours made. There's a block factory next to us here, and we use either this block factory here, or we use the block factory at near our other property, but we have them to make our blocks, or we either hire someone to make our blocks on site for us. The reason being is for cement blocks, for every one bag of cement block, you need 2.5 wheelbarrows of sand. So a lot of times to cut costs, some of the people who make blocks, they will cut corners and use more sand than cement. And it makes your blocks weaker. Then you have the other side of the coin where people who work for you, they may use more cement than sand, which uses up the bags. And I'll get to how the labor works in a minute, but it uses up the cement quicker and you pay them more. So I'll explain that in a minute. But right now, per block, cement blocks are 5 CDs per block. They used to be 3 CDs per block. Now they're 5 CDs per block. So when you're building, if you're building what they call it, a story building here, but I guess we would consider that like a multi-level. If you're building a multi-level home or building, whatever the case may be, you're gonna need wood. And you'll also need wood, to do your roof and to do some framing of pillars and things like that. So right now, wood boards that they use for that stuff is they're 50 CDs a board. The bamboo that they use to hold up the board, the plywood, when you're making the level for your second floor, those bamboo are 4 CDs per bamboo, and you usually need a lot of them. With your plywood is going to be 200 CDs per piece of plywood. So let's talk about labor. Labor is going to depend on the job. So some people, in some jobs, you only need to pay people by the day. Some jobs you need to pay them by the contract. Depending on what the job is going to depend on which one is going to be the best option. So, for instance, let's just first let me go about how much the labor costs. So for your carpenter, who is the person who cuts your wood and does the framing of your pillars and all of this stuff, your carpenter is going to cost you, we pay 100 CDs per day. Some people pay 60 CDs per day. Some people pay 80 CDs per day. We pay our carpenter 100 CDs per day. The mason, also, we pay our mason 100 CDs per day. The going cost is about 70, 80 CDs per day. But when you find a good one, it makes you want to pay them to go ahead and do the work here. Your laborers are most people pay them between 60 and 70 CDs a day. We usually pay 80, especially once we have good laborers. And right now, because we've been doing this for a while, we have some really good laborers. So we pay them 80 CDs per day. So the thing is, it's certain things that you have to be able to know when you're doing your building. And most of us don't know a lot about actually building a house or building anything for that matter. So you have to find someone who actually knows what they're doing and knows what to look for. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're getting your blocks made, it's 2 bags of cement per mason and one mason and one laborer get 2 bags of cement per day. So with that, they're supposed to be able to do whatever work needs to be done out of 2 bags of cement with one mason and one laborer. It takes 2.5 barrels of wheelbarrows of sand per 1 bag of cement. So usually what my husband does is he'll go to the site and he'll stand there while they do the mixing, the mixing of the cement and the sand. He'll supervise that and make sure that it's done correctly, and then he can go and handle some other stuff and then come back. And sometimes what people do is they'll cut corners and so that they can end their day early, or so that you'll end up having to keep them for more days. But if you do it by the contract, you hire, so for example, your foundation. When you're doing your foundation, instead of doing your foundation by the day, or paying by the day, you should pay by the contract. And when you pay by the contract, that means you hire the contractor that's going to oversee it. They have the number of men that's gonna work, the number of masons and all of this stuff that's gonna work, and they'll pay them. They're gonna quote you a price, and of course you need to make sure that that's like the average price, and then they're going to pay the laborers instead of you paying them. So this tends to be an incentive to just do the work the right way, because they know that they're just going to get a set rate for the actual work. So take your time, do the job, get it done right. But certain things are good for like a day. Like maybe you need some pillars plastered. If it's something that can be done in a day or done in a couple of days and it'll be cheaper for you to go that route, you should go that route. But you just need to make sure that you take into context, like how long should it take and versus how much money you're gonna spend. So you just gotta kind of play around with it, or have somebody who know what they're doing so they could tell you the best way to go. So now that I've gone over what it costs to actually, what the actual building cost, I want to say this. When I hear people say that it costs a certain amount of money to build in Ghana, it's a red flag for me. Unless it's a developer and they're building an estate, and it's possible that they've already bought all of the materials, they have all of that, and they could just give you a set price, then that I can go with. But somebody who's building a single family home, telling you that it's gonna cost you, it could cost you, let's say $10,000 to build a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house here in Ghana, that could be correct and it could not be correct. It could be more or less that, because building supplies, the cost of building supplies change very drastically here, very quickly. So this week you may be paying 800 cedis for a trip of sand. Next week you may be paying 1,000 cedis for a trip of sand. So, and that's a big difference when you have to do things so much. So anybody who would who gives those kind of prices, I kind of side eye that, because most people here don't know how much they actually spent on building their house, unless it's an estate planner, someone who's building. And here in the state is like a subdivision. So somebody who's building multiple houses, they more than likely have all of these materials and stuff already. So like for instance, another thing is when building, the quality of your building is also going to be a determination on the cost of your building. So for instance, we have our story building, we use 16 mm iron rods in our pillars. A lot of people use 14 mm iron rods in their pillars. We're not comfortable with the probability of that not being enough strength for the pillars. So we buy 16 mm iron rods. It's several things that like could change the cost of your building when you're building your home here. So I would say if you're gonna build, when you start building, you need to try to get as much of the actual materials that you can first. So if your contractor tells you need 17 tons of iron rods, you might as well you need to go ahead and try to buy them 17 tons of iron rods now. How many trips of sand you gonna need to do whatever? Try to buy that down, as much of it as you can, and get started. Now, if you're like us and don't have the ability to just drop $50,000 on materials right away, I would suggest doing something like building. We have this little like, I would call it a studio here. We is a one room place where it has a bathroom, it has a kitchen. It's enough for the two of us when we're coming back and forth. It keeps us from having to rent a place to stay when we're here. So that's something that I would suggest. That was the first thing that we did, was build a space on the property that was comfortable. We have a refrigerator, stove, everything right here, and I'll give y'all a little tour of it at the end of this video. But I want to go over some things that are common here. So it's common here, but not common there. So it's very common for people to rent space in an incomplete building. So for instance, we are building this place here that's it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 1 level. We're gonna put 2 more on top of it, the same thing. Well, it's not uncommon here, for considering the fact that this is almost done, it's not uncommon for someone to want to go ahead and rent it. We finish it and they live in it while we continue to build up top. The same thing, right out front, we have stores in front of this property. It's not uncommon for people to actually build stores in front of their property here. So we have 4 stores in front of the property. And I'll give you guys, at the end of this video, I'll give you guys a tour of this property and the other property also. But we already have 3 people renting 2 stores. We have a barber renting 1 store. We have a microfinancing bank renting another store. And we have a guy who sells mother baby stuff, so diapers and baby stuff. So we have those 3 stores being used right now, and on top of it we have plans for something else. The building wasn't even complete. The inside of it wasn't even complete before we had people wanting to rent them, because we're on a main road. So all of the guys who rented our stores, we hadn't even painted or laid down tile or anything. They rented the stores, they came in, they painted, they put down tiles and did everything that they wanted to do. And right now for us, we're not using the stores yet, so it's like, okay, let's go ahead and let somebody rent the stores. So that's not uncommon. It's not uncommon to also have young males and even young people, period, hell, anybody living in an incomplete house or incomplete living space. So for instance, right here we have a guardhouse right here, and the guy who does our who's basically our groundskeeper, our caretaker for this property, he moved into the guardhouse. We haven't finished it, but he was like, I want to stay here, so we let him move right on in there. But before, he stayed in the house. It's not uncommon. It's also not uncommon for people to offer to pay up front so you can finish the place, because they need it. So it's not uncommon that if you have a store, say, and somebody wants to rent that space, it's not uncommon for somebody to say, okay, how much are you going to pay for, how much are you going to want for the rent? You tell them that, and they'll say, okay, I want to rent for 5 years, and they'll give you the 5 years up front so that you can finish the property. All of those things are very common here. It's not uncommon. It's not common where we're from, but it's quite common here. So if you see somebody renting a space, like before we built this place, there was another small building here where before we built anything here, my husband had some older woman from the north who needed a place to stay. He built her a room here, and he let her stay here for free so that he could have someone on the property. That is something that I would suggest that people do. Let's have someone on the property when you're if you're not gonna build right away. So build your wall and build a small little space and let someone live in it for free. And that way you can have someone to watch after your property. And I'll explain in another video why that's important. Land grabbing here is very common, and I'll do another video about land grabbing and my experience with land grabs here. Even since I've been here this time, it's been, child. I'll do another video for that one because this one has already gotten kind of long. But anyway, I just wanted to give just a quick rundown of like how much it actually costs to buy the building materials and the fluctuation in the price Also, you have to take into context the fluctuation in the currency exchange. So sometimes it's 5.7 CDs to $1. Sometimes it's 5.5. So you have to take into context those things too. And with things going up and down the way they do, it's really hard for somebody to give you an actual cost of building a property in Ghana. And if you've seen one of the sisters that I know here who's building, Della, Natural Girl Ghana, she's building, and they're much further along than we are. And she went and did a price. She did a kind of costing of what they had spent so far. And just like I'm telling you, she was saying, you know, it's hard to give exact numbers because things change so much. If you're going to build in Ghana, I think it's time to build now. Things are going up. The prices of everything is going up. The prices of land is going up. We've gone to look at some land here in the last couple of days, and the prices of land is going up. And that's one of the great parts about land or having land, is that the land appreciates all the time. It never loses value. So buying land, whether you're going to buy land in America, in South America, in Africa, buying land is a good investment because land is it's an appreciating asset. So I want to thank you guys. I'm going to have a couple of videos of showing the different I'll show you guys my our guest house here and how we did this as our temporary stay, and I'll show you guys some videos of the other stuff that we're working on. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying Ghana. About to get ready to have me some of these coconuts right here, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. This is our boys' quarters. This is where we live while we're building. It has a small kitchen, something where we can use everything, and then there's our room. These are our stores. This is where one guy is renting for a barber shop. We have one guy here renting for a microfinance bank. And then here we have a baby store. It has like kids stuff and all of that stuff. And then you go here and you walk into we'll have a new gate here soon. You walk into our compound, and that's the little house where we stay when we're here. And then this is where we're building. So this is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom with a kitchen and hall. A hall is like a living room. So they're working on our gate inside because it's super hot outside. So this is where we're keeping some of our stuff in this building also. So it's 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. We're still working on it. This is the master. Still working on the bathrooms and stuff. It's coming along. We're trying to get this headboard refurbished. Then you can see all of our lights that we have. It's a pretty big space. And that'll be the kitchen over there. And yeah, that's it. We'll do 3 of these. This will be a triplex. We're gonna do the same thing on the top of this building. So when you come out of here, which is the entrance to this one, we're gonna have the same thing up here. So, and then we're gonna do another one on top of this. So that's the top of our stores, and we'll be building, we haven't decided what yet. It's formatted for rooms, so we'll see.
But so that's open. You open the entrance, right? You want to go in, you open the small one, you go in.
Okay. So, what's your name?
Ajuman, call it.
Who?
Ajuman. Call it Ajuman.
Okay. So, they're here working on our gate. It's looking pretty good. So about how much does a gate like this cost?
This one, to buy this, should cost about, how much does it cost me? Or how much does it cost?
How much does it cost?
What you saying? Give me some time.
Like 1 to 2 man or charge 5,000.
5,000 CDs?
Yeah. $1,000.
Okay, so about $1,000 for this kind.
This particular gift right now. If you say it's not me, that means they're doing it for somebody else. What about $1,000?
Okay.
But if it's because it's me, I just want to buy the material. So.
Okay. About how much you think is costing us?
The materials?
The materials and the labor.
Just my people, so the labor is not nothing out of it. But the materials cost me about 3,000, 4,000.
Okay. So the gate that we're getting is replacing this gate. This is our temporary gate. And by having a temporary gate, we got to see the difference. So this is iron. You see how it's rusted like that, and it broke in some places because it's not galvanized. It's just a metal gate. So my husband decided to go with galvanized metal, which is more expensive, but it's a better quality. So I'm all up in here looking at the work, checking out what's going on, telling them my changes that we need to make. Our great carpenter is putting up our stairs. This guy works all by himself. He's so good. We have, what else we have going on here? We have some walls being moved in there. some things being put up. So there's lots of stuff going on here. We got a cement truck coming in right now. There's lots and lots and lots going on today. This is my life in Ghana. When you buy your cement, make sure you buy black. This is the cement that we use, Dangote, the best cement that you can buy right now. And it's made by a black man. Buy black as much as you can.
Jamal, push your helmet, push your boot.
You didn't see Castro.
Hey, chill out.
He's marking the walls for our electricity. The boys will be chiseling the wall for the electricity. So he's getting the wall ready. The guys are now chiseling the wall for the electricity. So they literally chisel the wall. Castro back there, guarding the place. We've done some screeding is done here, plastering done there, getting the plumbing done here, chiseling the wall for the plumbing. Here we have what's going on in here. The plumbing has been chiseled and laid the pipes. That's the closet. This is one of the rooms. All of the places where electricity has been marked. Carpenter is getting the floor straight, getting all of this work stuff out of here. They going to work on the wall. We got a lot of stuff going on here today. The men are working hard. We got pipes laid here for one of the bathrooms. Castro on his job. The stairs have been poured. The roof has been poured for the next floor. And now my husband is talking about the outside lighting while the electrician is here. We're trying to make sure we have as much lighting as possible. Ooh. Yeah, it's gonna be one of them days. My carpenter. Carpy, why don't you wear shoes? The pipes put in for the bathrooms. Some construction. Carpenter works without no shoes. He won't wear no helmet, no shoes, no gear, just natural. The plumber working in flip-flops. People walking around barefoot. Now the electrician on the other hand, he got his helmet, his boots, his gloves. He always on point. But the other people, you bring shoes, you bring gear, you have everything that they need, but they won't wear it. They climb all up top of here and stuff, all up there with no helmets, no boots, nothing. So here you have a trip of sand. Then you got all this wood you have to buy. The wood is for preparing the flow so that they can pour the cement on for the second level. It's a lot to do. So you have to have, those are bamboo holding up the wood, and all of this wood and stuff we have to use and blocks and all of this stuff we have to use. We have stones on the outside of the gate. So this is part of this is a trip of sand. When you hear me say trip of sand, that's what I'm talking about. This is the view from our second floor